I saw a post on Facebook, and there was a lady holding this pink rod. It was a surf rod, and she was just standing on the beach with it and asking a question. And someone posted on there responding to it and saying, that rod is junk. I'm going to tell you something. I have this pink rod here, and we bought it for my daughter when she was a little girl. I've had this rod forever, and I've taken this rod out so many times and caught fish with it. I've caught, I just caught a spot. I've caught croaker. It's kind of my go-to reel. Even though I had Penn reels and rods, much better quality, much higher quality, much higher cost. I still always take this because it's just a little rod. It fits great on the kayak, and I catch fish. It's like lucky. I mean, here's a trout. I mean, who can catch a trout on a little pink rod? You don't think that that's like the one you're going to use when you go out fishing, but I always just bring it as a backup, and it always seems to catch me fish. So I've had this rod, like I said, for years, and I'm throwing soft plastics with it. I'll just throw frozen shrimp with it, whatever I can get. I even I've taken it down to the ICW here, and I've caught black drum on fiddler crabs. If you've watched any of my videos, you've probably seen this little silly pink rod. Well, I have to say that at the end of the last year, I took it out on the kayak, and I took it out for the last time because amazingly it lasts as long as it did, but eventually, even if you rinse your reels off, these aren't sealed, and the salt gets in there, and it just kind of rusted it out, and it no longer worked. So sad to say, my little pink rod is gone. Let's take a moment just to remember the little pink rod. Just a moment of silence here. That is, until today. I got a new one. Let's go see what we can catch with this new pink rod. Come on. So first, a quick shout out to a couple of guys. Scott sent me some photos of some fish he caught, and it's just really cool when someone sends you photos and says, hey, look, I watched your videos and I went out fishing and I caught these fish, and that was pretty cool. And I also got to hang out with Joey and his family last week, and we were catching some mullet. And later on, I'm going to show you a little picture of Ken, who really helped me out when I was in a bind. So before we get into the little pink rod, I want to show you a little trick. There is a lot of seaweed in the surf right now, and I want you to show you this setup right now. I've got a rod on my left, or on the viewer's left here, and it's just in the sand spike, and the other one I'm holding. And what I did is I waited out and I held it up. Now it's kind of a pain in the butt to do that, but the result is really outstanding. You don't get that much seaweed on your line, but you do get fish. So here I've actually caught a slippery mullet, which I'll probably drop at some point. But if you look at my line, there's a little bit of seaweed down on the weight, but none on the rest of it. And even though this is an impressive mullet, the fact that there aren't as much seaweed there is impressive. Now this one was just sitting there, and I think what happens is because the line is sitting in the breakers, that's where all the seaweed is. So I spend all my time picking off seaweed. So I think it's better just to hold the rod up, and that'll avoid the seaweed and help you catch fish. Now it's more work than just having it in the sand spike, but a little tip there. All right, let's get into the little pink rod. First of all, I picked up some yabbies, and if you don't know what yabbies are, I'm going to put a link to the video that I made previously and showed how I caught these. I went out on the kayak with it to start with. This pink rod, which is really more teal than pink, is a Shore Strike. It's a PT40. It is 6'6", and the only difference I can tell from the old one and the new one is the old one had a cork on the bottom, and they replaced that cork. You can see here it's sort of a plastic. There's a little foam on it, but it's very hard foam, so it's like a hard plastic. And so I put some yabbies on there, and I was like, I'm excited. I want to catch a black drum. Is really what I wanted to do, because I thought those yabbies would work great with black drum. It just seems like that would be something they would totally go after. So I did catch a fish like right away, and I reeled it in. And I was happy with this as far as a fish goes, even though it wasn't a black drum. It was a silver perch. Some people call them sand perch, and this was kind of a nice one. So I actually caught a couple of these, and I kept them because I think they're pretty good. I'm going to have like a little fish fry with them later on today. So that guy's out there. And the little pink rod was doing its job. It's fun, it's a light rod. I think it's like 12-pound test line on it. It comes with it. It's pink too. The line's pink. You gotta like give it some time there. You can't just reel it right in. You got to work with it a little bit because that line's so light you could break it if you have a big fish. Now, the second fish I caught was the fish I was looking for, a black drum. Now, the only problem is I really like to keep him over 14 inches, and this one's about 4 inches, so he's about 10 inches short. Actually, I like to keep him a little bigger. If I can get a 15 or 16 inch, I'm better in that size right there, which is a nice, great eating size, and they're a great fish to eat. So that's what I was looking for. I finally got a nice hit, and I was like, all right, this I'm having a fight with. This is a nice size fish. I finally got a nice black drum. As I'm in Davis Canal, that's what I'm expecting to catch when I get a fight this big. And I pulled it up, and I couldn't believe it was a ray. And I was like, are you kidding me? So some silver perch, one little black drum, a ray, and then basically the croaker started hitting. And once the croaker started hitting, it's like time to go. So I packed it up, and I had been very prepared for this trip, though. I had my yabbies, I had my ruler, I had pretty much everything with me. I had pliers, I had a bucket to keep fish in, but then I decided just to go down to the Davis Canal, just by the side, and I just wanted to go down there. So I just brought the bucket and the rod and like little else. And I had a couple of problems here. First of all, not being prepared is not a good way to go fishing. I used to be a Boy Scout, and the Boy Scouts always said, be prepared, and I was not. Also, it was low tide. Look how far the water is away. There's little stairs there, and then there's this long mud, and then you get the water. But I caught fish in pretty much the same order. I started off by catching a little silver perch, and then he went back, and then I had a nice big fight on my hands, and I'm like, all right, this is coming in. This is a black drum, right? I always think they're black drum because I expect to catch black drum in Davis Canal. But then it laid down. Whenever a fish lays down and it just doesn't move, you know it's a ray. And I was just like, oh man, how am I going to get this ray? I only have that 12-pound test. This is a heavy fish. I'm not going to be able to pull this across that mud. So I was like, I got to get down there. This is what I'm talking about, not being prepared. If I had waders on or something, it would have helped. And it was like bloop, bloop, bloop. You could see my footsteps. My feet got totally covered and caked in mud. As a matter of fact, when I left, I had to drive the truck. I took them off and threw them in the back of the truck, and I drove home barefoot because it was so nasty. So I'm like, all right, what am I going to do with this ray? I don't have pliers. I'm totally not prepared. So I brought them back up because I was like, I can't really get the hook out. They have very gummy mouths, and it's just hard to get the hook out manually without a pair of pliers. Luckily, there was another fisherman who showed up, Ken, and he had come prepared. And so he had a pair of pliers. So I was like, hey, can I borrow them? And he was like, yeah, man, no problem. And I was like, oh, thank you. So I went over and I used the pliers and I got the hook out. And I also used the pliers. I've kind of learned this technique to carry these things because they have the barb in the back. I'll usually grab the stingray by the barb with the pliers, and I can just carry them out right there. You can see I'm holding by the barb. I mean, I think it's a pretty good way to do it without having to hold a slimy fish. And back into the mud, back across the nasty thing. I'm slipping and sliding. I'm just glad I didn't fall, and I just gave him a little bloop and get back in there. So he swam away strong. But finally, I landed the fish I was looking for. And the little pink rod, I was starting to think the little pink rod didn't have the same luck that my old pink rod had, you know? I was like, maybe this doesn't catch anything but rays and little fish. But I finally got a nice hit on it, and it was a nice black drum, and I brought him in. So we're going to do a little cooking section because black drum is one of my wife's favorite fish. Now, a lot of times we'll just do something simple like fish tacos, but this time we decided to venture out. So I actually took the fish home, cleaned it, took off the head, and put it in a crab trap and caught some crabs. So we decided to make black drum almondine with a crab topping on top. And I'm going to tell you, it was one of the best meals. Here's the crabs in the pot. I'm just going to show you a couple things I did, and then I'm going to let my wife take over and got them in the pot, boiled them up. I got some great crab boil from the little place down in Southport. I got like a 12-pound bag, so I'm not afraid to use some crab boil in there. And I skinned the black drum, took out the bones, so we were all ready to go. This, I'm telling you, was one of the best. This was restaurant quality when this meal came out. Now, it did take forever. It made quite a mess, but we'll do a little walkthrough step by step. So here's Chef Kim. So, Chef Kim, what are you preparing for us tonight?
I'm going to do a black drum almondine with a crab meat topping and the crabs that we harvested right from our canal, Davis Canal here in Oak Island. Black drums are one of my favorite fish, so I'm really excited about this dish.
So what do you got going on here?
Basically, I've kind of separated the ingredients. We've got some salt and pepper. This is actually an awesome seasoning. It's called the Magic Blackened Redfish Mix, and it's a great Cajun seasoning. And then we've got some half and half. a little bit of flour, well, maybe a lot of flour, 2 sticks of unsalted butter.
Seems like a lot of butter.
And I always use butter. Like, I don't use margarine. I think it's really important to use actual real butter and a high quality grade. So this is some Irish butter here.
Okay.
And some lemons. Of course, you need your almondines.
Okay. And what is that?
This is the most important part of the meal.
Okay.
Chardonnay.
So what are you going to do? You're going to show us how to open this up.
So basically, I call this the tail. I don't know what the technical term is for it, but I call it the tail. So I remove that, and then I remove the back of it right here.
Look at that. That came right off.
And so I'm going to take that. That's going to go in the garbage. And then you have all the junky junk.
Oh gosh, junky junk. I think it's lungs. But
yeah, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
And you just basically split it in half. You see how I just did that? And then you're going to take, there you go. See that piece right there? That's awesome. That's what we want. That's what we want.
Where's that going to go?
It's going to go right here in the little crab bucket area.
That's the good stuff. That's what we're looking for.
That's what
So this looks like it could be kind of time consuming.
It's definitely time consuming, but let me tell you what, it is totally worth it.
How's the decrabbing going?
It's good. It takes a while, but I feel like I need to use all of the crab because we killed it. And it's 2 tablespoons. So really, I know what 2 tablespoons looks like because I've been cooking a really long time. So that's about 2 tablespoons.
Is it?
Hey!
All right, I trust you.
Alright, once it's coated, you're feeling comfortable with it.
I'm feeling comfortable with it.
We're going to go ahead and dredge this.
Right in there.
Yep.
Alright, that looks good. Got both of them? Oh, there's another one on the other plate. Okay. This is going into that. That's the butter.
That's the butter, the unsalted butter.
And the butter's going, and that's 2 minutes on each side. All right, so let that cook a little bit. So that looks really good right there. So what's going on now?
All right, so the fish is done. It was 3 to 5 minutes on each side. I like to go a little bit, probably more like the 3 than the 5, but if you have the right temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out and put it on top of the risotto.
Okay, well that looks good right there. Are we done?
No, honey, we're not done. Now we need the topping.
I feel like we're done.
Uh-oh, that one. Put the rest of the butter.
That's a lot of butter.
I know it is. I'm not saying that this is like a fat-free dish by any means.
Yeah, I'm gonna die.
So I'm just telling you, this is the way it goes. Okay.
It's hot.
So we need to brown the butter, and it's browning.
It sure is browning.
I'm gonna lower the heat just a touch.
Yeah, maybe because of browning.
But it looks so good. It smells delicious. All right, so now I'm gonna add the almonds. And we're going to brown these.
Browning the almonds.
3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes.
Yep.
What do we eat then?
There's some now, they're getting there. They're getting there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze a half a lemon in here.
Pretty wacky.
And now I'm going to take our garlic.
All the time chopping that garlic.
I chopped the garlic. I sure did.
That's going in there too. So we've got the butter, which was some Irish butter. There was the almonds that we browned. The lemon. Lemons still getting squeezed. It's crazy.
And we got, I don't like to waste anything.
No, it's all going in there. And then we got the garlic.
So, okay, we're going to plate that. We're going to put that over this, but I'm not going to do it right now because I need to just saute the crab meat real quick with the parsley, and then we'll be done. We're going to eat.
You're killing me. What do you mean?
I know, babe. I'm sorry.
I thought we did that already.
No, sweetie, we haven't.
So we're back here at the frying pan. Oh my God, I'm starving. That's the crab meat. You're not even telling us what's going on at this point.
Okay, it's parsley and the fresh crab meat.
Yeah, and the heat's back on.
The only thing I'm happy about is that Ian's doing the dishes tomorrow.
Yeah, I bet. We'll have to show you the sink in a minute.
All right, so I took the sauce out, and then there was a little bit of leftover garlic and leftover butter, and so I'm sauteing the crab meat in this. I'm going to top the fish with the crab meat And then we're going to do the sauce on top of it, and it's going to be absolutely freaking delicious.
Now, I feel like if we made fish tacos, we've been doing this for like 3 hours now. This has been a 5-hour video. I've never made a video this long.
I know, but it's worth it.
Fish tacos I could have made in like 2 minutes.
It's worth it, honey.
Well, I don't know. We haven't tried it yet.
Trust me. Top this puppy.
We're ready to do it. Okay, so this is the original almondine sauce here. And that's going to go on there. All right, and now what? Well,
here we go. Oh my god, I love this fish.
So what the hell is this?
Oh, that's your job.
What? There's like...
That's your job.
There were no dishes in the sink when we started.
Yeah, but you want me to cook, and this is how I cook.